Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike Brewer and Susan Kessel with Chamber Talk for the week of April 15th. And of course, today is Income Tax Day. It's payday for the federal government, and we hope that you have taken the opportunity to mail in your refund request or mail your checks in today before midnight tonight. And with us tonight, Susan, we have some special guests and a very special person with us tonight, Beth Dalby, the new editor of the Fairfield Ledger. And welcome to Fairfield.
Thank you.
We understand that today is your first day on the job.
It is my first day.
And
so,
here we show up in this
so we came to indoctrinate you and welcome you officially to the city of Fairfield and hope that your stay is long and prosperous.
Thank you.
And on my left is Jeff Wilson, the publisher of the Fairfield Ledger, and Jeff is also the president-elect of the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce. And we'll be talking about the making of a newspaper as we go through tonight's program. But before we get started, I'd like Susan to talk a little bit about yesterday's activities out at the Aquatic Center.
Yes, yesterday was a big day in Fairfield. We unveiled and dedicated the 42 by 7 foot mural, Imagine a Water Journey, that was commissioned by the Fairfield Art Association by artist Jody Cantor, who lives in Ohio, and I know you were present.
Mm-hmm.
It was an exciting event after 5 years of raising money and being able to unveil it. It really fills a nice space out there, and I hope everyone gets a chance to go out and look at it.
Well, if you haven't had an opportunity to be in the Aquatic Center, please do so. You can go out practically anytime. I know they're open very early in the morning. I don't know what the hours are exactly. I was going to say that, but I don't know what the hours are. But I know that a lot of people go out early in the morning to exercise in the pool, and then there are classes throughout the day. And so take a minute and stop out and see the new art display at the Fairfield Aquatic Center indoor swimming pool. Well, Beth, first of all, let's bring our readers up to speed tonight and talk a little bit about you and where you came from and how you happened to come to Fairfield and some of your past history. And let's start, first of all, with where you came from and what your past history is.
I grew up in northwest Missouri, but have lived in Iowa for about 15 years. Most recently, I was the editor of the Dallas County News in Adel.
Dallas County News.
Right. And then I took a year off and did freelancing. And Jeff called one day, said that he had a position open, so.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Did you know each other?
No, it was kind of, I called a person, a mutual acquaintance for me, a friend for Beth in northwest Iowa, and asked him for his input on if he knew candidates for our editor's slot. And he gave me Beth's name, and Beth is a little bit downplaying her background. She has a sterling background in Iowa newspapers, and she was at the Adel paper for about 13 years, Beth, and had great success there. In fact, in 1992, Adel, or Dallas County News, had the Newspaper of the Year award from the Iowa Newspaper Association.
Fantastic.
So no, it was when I was given her name, it was an easy phone call to make, and Beth was available, and the freelancing she'd been doing was for the Des Moines Register. So she had was staying in touch with Iowa and newspapers.
Sure.
and
So what do you expect out of the new job?
What do I expect? Oh, I think a lot of the same satisfaction that I experienced in Adel, and that is making a newspaper really important to all segments of the community. It should have broad-based support, and I think it's a good product now.
Well, we're certainly very, very proud of the Fairfield Ledger here in Fairfield. It's been with us for a long time.
1849.
1849, so that's a long time. And Iowa's celebrating its sesquicentennial year this year, and Fairfield celebrated its 150th anniversary back in 1989. So we're actually 7 years older than the state of Iowa. But we're looking forward to a lot of fun things happening this year with the sesquicentennial, and we hope you can join in and be a part of the fun and activities as they unfold throughout this entire year.
I'm sure I will. Not just as part of my job description, but just because I want to be part of the community.
Tell our listeners tonight what an editor does at a newspaper.
Oh, an editor helps assign stories, makes final judgment on lead stories. In this position, the editor will write, cover city councils, write a column. The buck stops here to an extent.
Now the buck just moved, because I'm going to ask Jeff, for the sake of our readers, what are the duties of the publisher of the paper?
Well, as far as the buck stopping, I get I have the financial responsibility of the Fairfield Ledger. There's department heads in advertising in the business office and circulation and composition and in the newsroom. Beth is the department head in the newsroom. Everybody more or less will report to the publisher. I can't do all the various jobs. I don't want to do all the various jobs. But as far as pulling it together and then have the bottom line responsibility, that's where the publisher comes in.
Mm-hmm. So as a paper unfolds and the day begins, I think, pretty early over here, doesn't it?
We try.
Yeah.
We try.
Well, I know I've caught you over here many times pretty early in the morning. And so as the day unfolds and you get to work and you take a look at some of the activities that happened yesterday, happened last night, maybe meetings, city council meetings, etc., board of supervisors or whatever have you, or maybe even some tragic stories that would be eventful here in Jefferson County. Mm-hmm. So at that point, how do you handle that as the first item of the day? Do you assign those stories to various writers?
Now, this is my first day.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now, I think everybody has some general beats that they cover.
Okay.
And they'll bring me up to speed on this is happening,
Okay.
and this is happening. I think we probably always constantly have to be able to change gears because news, when we have late breaking news, then we kind of have to reshuffle.
Happens whenever.
But yeah, I can't really answer that question
No, I understand.
intelligently right now
Yeah.
because they've been showing me today.
Well, I tell you what, about a year from now, we'll come back and bring Channel 9 Camera back, and
That would be
we'll do a
great.
sequel, and
That would be
we'll see how things have changed. But as the day unfolds, then behind us, and you may want to reset the camera, Richard, so that we can move in, and Jeff can begin to show us back here on the computer monitor exactly how you begin to put the paper together, at least into the computer.
Okay.
Then we'll take the camera and we'll go back and see some of the actual layout, and the presses will be running rather soon, and press time is at about 2:20 today.
Right.
Takes about 20 minutes to run the paper.
At 20-25 minutes, we're going to have a roll change. You might see Larry moving around some big rolls of newsprint, but yeah, it usually takes about 20-25 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to move in, we'll just take a look at the computer background back here, and you'll have to explain to me what's going on.
Okay. You ready? Okay. The decision-making process that Mike was asking Beth about was not only what stories we have, what Marnie is working on, what pictures the photographer has taken either the day prior or during the morning. The front page layout responsibility will be Beth's, and we do that on the computer. The decisions are made as to what the lead stories are. And the lead story is what's most prominently played on the page. This big X here is a photo that we knew that we had from the aquatic center from Sunday. There's a picture with I think Greg Hanshaw, the artist, and Nancy Horace with the mural in the background. We knew that would be our lead picture today, so it's kind of easy to put that in a prominent spot. Marnie has a story here, Mural at Home in Aquatic Center. As far as pulling that together and laying out a page, it looks easy, but it's kind of like what the blueprints for a building is,
Yeah.
building a page.
Well, and of course I'm always fascinated how you can lay the page out and you don't have any blank spots, you don't have any dead spots. It's like us having dead time on television here today, but this is all accomplished over the computer, and then you send this via
Right. What we do have also is when you don't complete a story on the front page, you're able to jump it. This is the inside back page here in the on the right-hand side. And these big X's here are advertisements. This is the run over from our classified, and these are advertisements here. Actually, the first step in putting the paper together, it goes on the day before when Gene Ludke puts together the advertising layout. He puts all the ads in place and says we have a 10 or a 12 or a 14-page paper or whatever. But that's the advertising dictates the size of the paper, and Gene puts that together. Then they show up in the newsroom first thing or late that afternoon, and newsroom gets going with their task of plugging the news holes for the next day.
But it actually then, Beth will, as editor of the paper, it'll be your responsibility to decide which story hits the front page,
Right.
how much press it gets, where it's positioned on the front page of the paper, and what pictures are used.
Yes, it will. It's,
What's the latest time during the day that some story can make the paper? If
Well-
something's really breaking.
The absolute latest, since I've been at the Ledger, which is almost 5 years now, was when we were waiting for a verdict on a Friday afternoon on the Freeburg trial. And the jury came out, and very thankfully, at about 2:45, and we were waiting that day. So we did wait. We had a picture in the paper, and we were on the press by about 3:15 that day, which is about 45 minutes later than we like to get, but we really were trying to get that verdict in the paper. Usually we wrap things up as far as writing about maybe 1 o'clock, Beth, to try to get things all, to be able to paginate and get the page put together. Then it goes in back and comes out on the laser printer, and it's pasted up to go to the camera room and then onto the press.
So if we're going to have another train derailment in Lockridge and spill 36,000 gallon of syrup, we need to do that before 1 o'clock or so.
it would help.
Okay. Well, we'll try and coordinate that in the future.
But yeah, that's what our deadlines are, and they are a very major part of this business. We have a lot of college grads that really don't know what deadlines are till they get an operation where they have to
There
be met.
really is a deadline.
Yeah.
Well, with that, let's take the camera and go out into the layout room and show the people how you get ready for the press run.
Okay.
Beth, you lead the way, and
I'm going to grab some of the pages. Beth, this is the composition area. Beth Ruckman and Sherry Manley put together advertising for the paper on computer terminals. They design ads. Beth, do we have pages for today's paper here and back? Or? Okay, what I'll do is I'll get the pasted up pages from today's paper. We do those on the layout banks over here, and when they come out the laser printers, we they come out on 11 by 17 sheets. And it used to be that we put out the paper column by column. And
right.
Anymore, it's all, you saw where we had the computer layout of the paper, and we do that now, and just, there's about 3 sheets of paper here that are just tiled together, and it's, as they come apart, and we're able to piece together the paper that way. Depending on what the weather is, the weather box goes on, but it reflects directly what was on the computer screen as it comes out the laser printer.
Jeff, how long has it been that you've used the offset instead of the typeset?
The letterpress era, is for they call it the hot type with the old lead. It was probably the early 70s.
Okay.
I switched over at the Fairfield Ledger. At that time, the biggest ledger that could be printed was 8 pages. And it switched over to the cold type in about, I think it's 71 or 72, and we in fact have the same press. It's been updated and modified a little bit, but our press is about 22, 23 years old.
What's the maximum page now?
Right now on our press we can run 20 broadsheet pages like this. We have 5-unit press, and there's 4 pages that can be run on each unit of the press. So we can run a 20-pager. But the paste up process, the only relic of the past is the classified page that we go 1 column at a time. But you can see how all the different pages of the paper go together. This was that right-hand page that I showed on the screen. Here's the classified and the ads, and here's the jumps from page 1. Back page, sports, lifestyles are page 2 and 3, and that'll probably make the classified down towards the bottom, right? So the classified, you can see with the spacing and the way put in the column at a time, was the old way. But we really, at this point, haven't had the technology to be able to do that with the confidence level that we want. Printing it out on the 2 tiles at a time, or just on a single sheet of laser printout.
How many staff do you have to put together the newspaper in a day?
Okay, we have about 20 full-time people here at the Ledger, another 10 permanent part-time in the 20 to 35-hour week range. So people are a little bit surprised when we have close to 30 people here at the Ledger, but it's a good-sized operation.
How many carriers do you have, Jeff?
55, 56.
55 or 56 carriers.
And that's one job. Jeff Crowell's job, coordinating the carriers, is one I know I wouldn't want to have.
I don't want that.
No.
And I think it's only fair to just get a pretty major plug-in for the Fairfield Ledger at this time. That it's only fair to say that now that the Des Moines Register has changed its published time, we no longer get last night's sports scores in the morning like we used to. And so if you want last night's scores today, you really need to subscribe to the Fairfield Ledger, because you'll have them when you get home from work at least.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the plugs.
And if people watching tonight don't subscribe to the paper, how can they easily do that?
Probably the best way is just to call 472-4129 and we'll get you going.
4129, and the cost of a subscription?
For a full year, it's about $75 in town. By mail, I think it's just a little bit less.
So if you aren't a subscriber to the Fairfield Ledger, we certainly wish that you would consider that. They're outstanding corporate citizens of the Fairfield area, and Jeff is President-elect of the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce. We certainly appreciate all of the time and the energy that the Ledger has contributed to the overall quality of life here in Fairfield, Iowa. With that, let's take a look at the presses. I think they're running in the background.
Okay.
Through here, and I'll let you lead the way. Larry, could you reach over and grab a paper for me? Here we go. That's fine. Great. For all the viewers tonight, Richard, we'd like to show them what the final paper looks like as it comes fresh off the press. This is the very front page that we were looking at on the computer screen just a few moments ago.
My kids come back
It's gone through the camera room, and now it's up here on the presses being printed and folded. Jeff, if you would please, kind of tell us how all this happened.
Okay. We go from the process of the pasted up pages that I just showed to a negative. We make a full page negative the size of the Fairfield Ledger page. When we're done with that, we use that negative to make an aluminum plate that there are 2 pages of each that are, these pages go on one aluminum plate.
Okay.
And they're wrapped around the cylinders of the press, and by magic, with offset printing, with the web,
So
we get the impressions.
Larry takes the the aluminum
Plates.
plates and physically mounts them on the rollers in here.
Right, right. And then,
So the actual printing of the newspaper only takes 20 minutes?
well, we print, Larry, our capacity is what, 13,000 an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, top running for us is about 13,000 an hour. The ledger circulation is a little over 4,000. So we can print those in, yeah, about 20, 25 minutes. Larry will have a roll change today. Not yet. You see where the paper is coming almost to the end of the roll here. That's what Larry's watching.
How long does the roll last?
What do we get, Larry?
About 3 press runs.
About 3 press runs on the
I mean,
roll.
about 15,000 good copies.
It's a lot of paper.
Yeah, you can go back here.
Ooh, look at this.
All the way up there.
Yes. Susan, we're getting in on a real treat today as we watch the Fairfield Ledger not only being printed, but when I take a look at the size of the roll of that paper, we certainly don't want it to roll away. Larry, how many pounds would that roll weigh?
About 900.
900 pounds. And 3 press runs, so that's about 12,000 sheets of paper.
Boy, your math is better than mine if you can come up with that quick. That's why I carry a calculator around. I get on Larry's sore side real quick when we have a mistake in the paper. And we got to stop the press. But that happens occasionally. We spot something that needs to be changed. And,
Now, when you print a color page, how does that incorporate it into the total activity here?
To do process color, we just had process color last Friday on the home improvement section. And to be able to do that, what we need to do is we have 5 units on our press. We have to have 1 unit for the red, 1 for the yellow, 1 for the blue. And those 3 colors, that's why they call it process color, because the process is involved in doing full color printing. But we were cut down to an 8-page paper because we only have 2 units left at that point. And then so in the home improvement section, we had to do that in 2 runs and then insert one inside the other.
How often do you do color?
We'd like to do it more. In fact, we have the technology now to be able to do it a little bit more. Up until about 3 months ago, we'd have to go to we did it over in Burlington to get the separations for our color pictures. Now we can do that between the 3 papers, the Golden Triangle, and we do it up in Washington. And we hope to be doing it on a monthly basis now. But it's a process that's not easy as far as press capacity, because once again we're down to an 8-page paper, and we'll have to do 2 press runs in any issue that we have process color. Larry's had never had so much attention to a roll change.
How many years have you been in the press room back here in the Ledger?
About 26 years old total.
On the fateful day in last November, Larry told me it doesn't work. We were down for about 3 days last November.
What did you do?
We printed over in Mount Pleasant.
I don't know about you, but I'm totally impressed on how all of this comes out and gets folded
I know,
and it's all put together all by itself. I love it. Let's take the camera and go on downstairs and watch them do
Let me tell them. I'm a little
Okay.
bit... I have a TV camera downstairs. Yeah. What?
Should we head downstairs?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to have a TV camera down here in a second, so.
Hi, Dick. Well, we saw the papers coming off the press upstairs, and just turn around and you can see the papers coming downstairs on the lower level of the Fairfield ledger, and as they come down they get stacked up together. And are you counting them there?
That's Dick Heston, and they kick out every 25th paper.
I see.
So we keep track.
From up above.
Right, they just come right downstairs. So Dick stacks them in 25s. Behind us we have our mailing operation going on. We mail out about 1,300 papers every night.
And so you deliver
Between the vendors and delivery, it's the other about 2,900.
yeah.
The inserts are being done over here.
Tonight we have some hand inserts, and when we go in the other room you can see our shopper publications. We have 9 or 10 inserts in them tomorrow, so there's stacks and stacks all over.
Thanks, start right there. Thank you. Thank you very much. Whoa. This looks like a big job doing
Well,
this hand.
Oh my gosh.
There's inserts for, well, you name it tomorrow. But
So this is tomorrow's shopper.
yeah, that's the Farm and Home Weekly, and that's delivered with the town crier. The people who don't subscribe to the Ledger will get the Farm and Home. Frank, we'll get the Farm and Home Weekly. The town crier goes to everybody. That whole package of, well, there's different packages of different combinations of that, but the inserts go out. Put in those, and in the Fairfield Ledger. If you live in Fairfield, you'll get the town crier with all the inserts stuck inside your ledger if you subscribe to the Ledger.
How many additional copies of the Farm and Home Weekly do you print in?
We usually have a press run on the Farm and Home of just about 11,000. The town crier press run is over 13,000.
Over 13,000 town criers are put out into rural box holders and non-subscribers throughout the whole county and city.
Right. It's to keep all these piles straight is still an amazement to me. I don't know how they do it.
Totally is. Well, with that, it's been a real pleasure, and Beth, thank you for coming on board the show tonight with Fairfield FPAC Channel 9. It's a pleasure. Welcome to Fairfield. On behalf of the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce, we once again want to wish you all of the very best in the Fairfield Ledger, and as the editor, if there's ever an opportunity for you're needing some help, feel free to call the Chamber. We'll be very eager to help you get acquainted with Fairfield. And Jeff, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you.
It's a real pleasure coming
Glad to
down
have you.
and being part of the Ledger and the printing process. We hope that everyone has enjoyed it tonight. Susan, thank you for the update on the Aquatic Center and the art display.
Check it out.
Yeah, get out and check out the art as well as the entire facility at the Fairfield Aquatic Center. With that, this is Mike Brewer and Susan Kessel with the Fairfield FPAC Channel 9, wishing you all a very pleasant week.